All right. So that's there. That's there. That's there. Let's put that there. Put that there. Put that there. And we've got a couple viewers jumping in now. Excellent. GM, everybody. We'll just wait for it to jump onto Twitter as well. Yep, we're live on Twitter. Amazing. Just 14 seconds ago. All right, sweet as. So obviously, GM, everybody, please let us know if you are here in the chat by sending a GM or a GN if you're in the nighttime over in the US, or in the middle of the day if you're it'd be nighttime in Europe/UK as well. So GM to everybody from Australia. Obviously, we're here in the morning. Shout out to Craig for being here today. Craig, how are you, mate? Thanks for joining me again.
Thanks, Greeny.
Too easy. So obviously, guys, we're here to discuss pretty much like the biggest news in crypto history, really, the Bitcoin ETF news. So we'll dive deep into that. We'll discuss around what our thoughts are. Obviously, use our experience from previous cycles to what we're thinking at the moment with our particular plays and what's happening in the market. Then we'll talk about potential NFT plays. I know Craig and I have been heating up in the NFT space because there's just a bit more liquidity there. There's a bit more volume there. There's a bit easier to get in and out of trades at the moment. Meme coins are in an interesting spot, and we will talk about them later on the show as well. And obviously, we'll be unpacking the charts as usual. We'll be looking at some strong altcoin plays, maybe some potential plays that are really hitting some really good DCA areas as well. So lots to talk about again today. So thanks for joining me, Craig. It's always a pleasure to have you on each week. How are you feeling today, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I've first of all, thanks for having me. Good morning, everyone. I just see someone's in Chicago. Awesome, man. Thanks for tuning in. Myself personally, everything's looking pretty good crypto-wise. Like you said, I've been dabbling a little bit more. We will go into a bit more detail, but a bit more NFT plays at the moment. And I guess the hot topic, like you said, was kind of the BTF approval. ETF approval, and what's been happening as a consequence from then, probably frustrating a few people, probably exciting a few people, probably keeping a few people sidelined as well. So yeah, look, we'll be able to talk all day about this, man. And as everyone can see who's watching us today, Greeny and I decided to color match today. So we're in uniforms. So this is the official color of the Greeny show. Moving forward, obviously it's not green, it's salmon. It's not pink, guys, it's salmon. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me, and happy to be here, Greeny.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, great intro. So I think, guys, we'll just start. Like, obviously, I've just shared this on the screen, but in the past couple of days, there's been $9.4 billion traded in the ETF narrative in Web 2. So that's obviously with all of your different companies that are in that space. So there's plenty of volume there, but like a lot of people have been saying, and like we're going to discuss today, it's just probably not the right time for fully risk on assets. We've just had the S&P 500 absolutely rally across the past couple of months. We've seen Bitcoin absolutely rally from mid-year. We've seen Solana go on a tear from about $8 to over $120. So you've got to remember, a healthy market doesn't always go up. And so I think it's really important that we do have consolidation periods, that we do have healthy retracements, so that in the long run, we can obviously make those really high X's. So 5 to 10 X's from obviously when we were buying a couple months ago. So obviously we'll dive into a crypto market update. So let's just pull that up. Let's have a look and see where we are. So if you have a look here, it's really interesting at the moment. Now, the fear and greed index is always one that I like to look at because it gives you a sentiment around what people are currently feeling and whether they're greedy and whether they're sort of like loving their profits, that sort of thing, or whether we're on the conservative side and we are a bit fearful, okay? And as you start to see this trend down, that has traditionally always been a great time to DCA or to get into tokens that you have conviction on. And so we are starting to be, for the first time, back down into that mid-range, okay? So into that neutral territory. I'll see if it wants to load for me. So as you can see here, guys, this is the first time we've been this low since the end of August, which is, the end of October. So that is crazy. Yeah. So as you can see here, we've been heating up for a long time. And as we start to maybe just consolidate for a bit, people are starting to FUD. People are starting to be a bit fearful. So as you can see, the sentiment is definitely starting to change. So that shows me it's great because that's a great time to accumulate, like Craig and I have been talking about for quite a long time. And I do think we are starting to see some potential with some tokens that we have conviction in, Craig, that are certainly hitting some nice levels.
Yeah, that's interesting about the fear and greed index. Actually, I did look at it a couple of days ago, and I saw it was in the going more towards the fearful area, which kind of made sense to me. I mean, you can kind of feel it on the timeline.
Yeah,
We were chatting just before offline, guys, and Green and I were chatting about Bitcoin, and I think one of your followers made it was a good post yesterday when we put up your link about the price. It was priced in, right, the
yeah,
for Bitcoin anyway.
yeah,
And interesting enough, it looked like people tended to rally towards Ethereum, trying to front run the Ethereum ETF potential of it.
yeah,
And then a lot of people on my timeline anyway, Greeny, you may have noticed as well, were sort of like, oh, okay, so why isn't Bitcoin pumping? And, I thought this was meant to pump, and just the odd comment like that, which
yeah,
it was kind of like, I kind of felt like, if you look at Bitcoin on the weekly, even on the daily, well, the weekly especially shows that if you zoom out, guys, have a look at how long it's Bitcoin's been going up for, and it's been going up since November. So we've had 3 months of really strong price action, and probably a lot of that price action. Well, it's kind of two minds, right, Greeny? Does news follow the chart, or does the chart follow the news? And I tend to think the first. So
yeah,
the price is going to do. I think ultimately this rally is going to do what it wants to do. News events will pump it, but also will tend to dump off news as well. So for me, it's almost like I could throw away the newspaper, look at the chart, and it's still doing what I thought it would do. And I could almost look at that chart and not care where the news is.
exactly.
Because at the moment, it's looking like, I was just having a look on the. Oh, you're on the weekly, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the weekly chart there. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's hitting levels that last bull run was resistance and support there. So for me at the moment, this level is just a consolidation level. I was looking earlier, I think I said to you last time, and I think we both agreed we could see a sort of a 37, 38K.
yeah.
But I think Bitcoin may chill now for the next little bit, and altcoins may get a chance to have a bit of a run, which it looks like some of them are. I think, what was it running before? Beam was...
Yeah, Beam's been, it's up 13%. Yeah, crazy.
So Beam's going well. So yeah, what are you seeing? What are you feeling?
So I agree. I think it's obviously healthy consolidation. We've had this big week back down, but we have respected the bottom of this chart. Now, obviously, as we've always said, guys, the more times you bounce on the bottom of a support or resistance zone, then more likely it's going to break that zone. However, there is still strength in this chart because it has bounced here. We're breaking back above that breakout zone. I would love to see volume take this higher, but in my opinion, like we've been speaking about, I think a lot of liquidity is still locked up on the sidelines. You've got rates that are quite high. Mortgages haven't really come down. Inflation's still out there to an extent. So a lot of people aren't fully risk on. The DXY is also moving up as well, which traditionally is, so that's the dollar. So traditionally that means that people are not really risk on when that does trend up. So these are the sort of telltales that we are starting to see the fear and greed index go down, and that people are starting to throw a bit of FUD on the timeline. And if anything, I agree with you, Craig. I think altcoins are definitely still where you maybe want to be, because if you do let's look at total crypto market cap. We've been fighting this area for literally since at the start of December. So this is a monumental area for support and resistance, guys. So there's no reason that we need to be bearish here. It's just, look at this. Like, okay, we bounced off here for months in 2022. We also treated this line as a huge resistance zone in 2021. So you need to zoom out, guys, and you need to understand that this market does have so much potential for the next year or so, but at the moment we're just chilling. And as you can see here, there's nothing bearish about this chart at all. We currently are still probably even holding a more even stronger sort of trend line up there. Even I could probably draw it. So we're consolidating, and I think within obviously the next sort of week or 2 weeks, I would expect us to see whether we can break out or whether we do come back down and just retest maybe this $1.4 trillion range. And similarly with altcoins, okay, again, we've got this breakout pattern, and I think we spoke about this last week as well. Like, we're just consolidating, which is great because it's a DCA sort of level, great entries for longer term plays. And I think obviously this is probably going to heat up by the end of January. So I'd love to see a breakout. This is the altcoin chart, so total 3. I'd love to see that breakout by the end of January. But at the moment, yeah, we're just chilling, guys. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think obviously BTC is back into this range. So we'll see if it can break out, or if not, it has a bit of blood and it heads down to 38, 30. I'd probably say my level is 38K. That's where I'd be looking. We might get a stop at around 40K first, and then 38K is what I'm looking at on my chart here. In terms of ETH, though, I know we both have been talking about that, but look at the strength in ETH, guys. So ETH obviously broke out. That ETF narrative sort of heated up ETH and made it catch up a little bit in the market. But again, if it fails to break that high there, okay, I think that ETH obviously trends with the rest of the market and moves down as well. So watching ETH with a lot of interest at the moment. Obviously, I like to compare ETH with BTC and obviously with Solana as well. But we'll compare BTC first. And I did say this on the show last week, Craig. I will flip bullish on Ethereum compared to BTC if it can break above these two levels. And what have we seen? We've broken above that on the weekly. We're currently still above it. So this is a huge change in ETH's chart, which is great to see against BTC. Again, I would love it to close above these sort of levels for the next couple of weeks. And then I have way more conviction that ETH will, at least in the short term to medium term, outperform Bitcoin. So that's great to see. Solana versus ETH is in a very interesting spot. We're starting to see like this candle pattern here is usually a potential reversal because it's indecisive about moving up, but it's also indecisive about moving down. But again, that's probably going to be market based in my opinion. So this is what we're looking at for Solana versus ETH. We have broken down against ETH here. So obviously ETH is going on that big rally. But again, if I take off the fib and I actually draw a line, like it's Solana needs to cool off, guys. Okay. There's no drama, like no doubt about it. So there's no surprise that ETH did sort of take the reins a little bit here. We did start to retest some of the all-time highs for Solana versus ETH, and I do think it comes back and bounces soon. I'm just watching this level to see whether we get better opportunities. If we don't, then obviously I think Solana maybe comes down to the 0.03% of an Ethereum token, which would, in my opinion, is a great opportunity. But at the moment, yeah, very, very interesting. And I think we've got confluence, Craig, across all of the charts here, is that we're just kind of chilling at the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think it's probably it's interesting, the markets, they will kind of frustrate people, watching, you've watched them a long time. It's funny just watching the market, just, especially in the cooler phase of Bitcoin right now, frustrate people.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's why you get the sell-offs as well, because people get frustrated. It didn't do what they thought. They think they were wrong. But often, you can be wrong wrong one day and right for the rest of the year. So sometimes the best thing to do is sit on your hands. And last time we spoke last week, I was busy gloating how my portfolio had gone up a lot, and then it actually dropped exactly to the same level pre-Bitcoin ETF. Yeah. So really, the market's actually just doing what it wanted to do, regardless of the news. Yeah, and I've just kind of been sitting on my hands. And I did, when we did have a bit of a pullback towards the end of last week, I sort of DCA'd back into a few of the altcoins I wanted to get into. And I'm actually going to, I've got a bit of dry powder sideline still that I'm waiting if Bitcoin decides it wants to go to that 38K. I'm going to assume alts will probably take a bit of a dive. I will go in heavier again. Just the main reason for that is I just feel with Bitcoin going to 38, I'm not sure we'll see, and I could be completely wrong here, guys, don't base your investment on what I'm about to say. I think we'll see up from there. But at the same time, I think it's important, guys, to understand, or for myself, I believe we're very much in a bear market, very much in a bull market. Take that back, guys, in a bull market. So for me, regardless of where Bitcoin goes in the shorter time frame, whether it takes 3 months to get back to 50K, that's not the main thing. The main thing for me is just buying at the levels for the alts I've told myself I'm going to buy it, and then just adjust my strategy depending on what Bitcoin does. But ultimately, with the belief that in 2 years' time, these variances of 10% or 20% won't ultimately matter, other than being more in profit. So rather than looking at the bleeding days as obviously a negative, sometimes you can flip your mind and think it's a buy time, but at the same time, keeping enough on the sideline that you don't end up getting caught in the market. So that's sort of I suppose the way I'm feeling about it. So pretty positive. I mean, Sol's still just shy of $100, so
Yeah.
Still good, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
I couldn't
like
agree
everyone
more.
else, I can't wait for this to pop off and alts just to do, 100% and 200%. But if anything, the market's going to force us to be patient, and those that are will do well, and those that aren't will buy back when Bitcoin rips above 50.
And I think that's really important. And I think what obviously bear markets teach you patience, right? And it teaches you to zoom out, and it teaches you to be like, okay, yeah, we've just moved up. Like Sol's up, like predominantly my bags are up probably 3 to 4x, right? So
Yeah.
from that point, right, it's like, okay, you're up 3 to 4x in the past 3 to 4 months. Like, step back, mate. That's insane. Like, where else do you get those returns? And then think about what might happen by the end of this year as well. So there's things like that that you need to consider. And I think it's really important that at the end of the day, you do zoom out, you do sit on your hands, and you just be patient, guys. Like, we aren't like we've just been on an insane tear for the past couple of months across meme coins, across altcoins, across NFTs. We've had Sol NFTs run up quite a lot as well. We've had ordinals run up so much as well. There's new blockchains that are seeing a lot of love, which we will touch on later as well. But I think it's so important that people need to zoom out. They need to remember to not trade emotionally, but to trade on the facts, trade on price action. And I do think maybe if we do see 38K, that's a great sort of range. And like same here with Solana, guys. Like we're forming just a kind of conservative pattern here. Obviously, on the short term, we've got this overarching resistance. We've got higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. So there's nothing bearish at the moment. And like Craig said, like this is opportunity in my opinion. So still plenty of upside to go. I will do some more analysis on some of our altcoins as well. But I think it's really interesting because if we play out and consolidate for a month or two here, Craig, I actually think that extends the market further than what I think it will. Like I still think we might top out early 2026 or like late 2025, early 2026. However, if we cool off for a bit of time before the halvening, and because obviously Web 2 sort of stuff, macroeconomics aren't in favor 100% of risk on assets at the moment. So I think maybe it might be a good decision to just sit on your hands, be patient for a couple of months, and then come back when it heats up mid-year. Who knows?
I'm the same. I mean, when we were speaking last time, I think one of the things we mentioned was the pace at which Bitcoin had kind of ripped up, and it felt like, or looking from a distance, that the kind of bull run had started early. You mentioned this actually, and it was going at a pace that kind of was quicker than I expected. So it almost felt like we were going to see just two things could have happened, right? Bitcoin can just rip. The cycle's going to be a little bit shorter. It's going to top up high, like the top's going to be high, but it's going to be quick. I was like you. I would prefer it chill out and give us an extended bull run, so I've got time to make decisions, time to put in fiat into the market, rather than have the market say to me, "You got to go now, man." I prefer to be saying, I'll moving at my own pace, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. So I'm happy. I'd like a little 1-2 month cool off. I mean, I'm like everyone. I'd love a rip, but I think that a rip would be unusual, and I'd much prefer this bull run to mimic other bull runs, so I kind of feel more comfortable, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say.
And I think that's so true. And that's what we've spoken about for quite a while, Craig, is that we have broken out quite aggressively compared to even last cycle. I'd nearly call that, 60% of the length, and it's probably a little bit shorter. This one down here was around the 700 days of accumulation in 2016, 2015. So yeah, I think a cool off is certainly necessary. I think it's definitely, like, I'm still very bullish, guys. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm here for insane gains in 2025 and 2026. It's just like, it's obviously great to see just kind of consolidation here. But yeah, GM everybody, please let us know if you are here in the chat. Obviously, like the video to help us grow as content creators. We bring this stream to you every week. So do support us. And obviously, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to both me, which is this channel that you're watching on, but also Craig, who's in the description as well. And obviously, follow us on X if you are new here on X, guys. But yeah, let's dive into some of our favorite altcoins. So we looked at Solana. It's kind of chilling. So again, look at the chart. Like, you need to chill out for a bit, guys. Okay, there's nothing wrong with this. We're consolidating here. As I said, my ultimate buy zones for DCA entries would be in these yellow lines down here around 80 to 75 sort of region. In my opinion, would be an absolute steal longer term. So I'd be watching to see whether this this current price action actually can make a new high, or whether it's a lower high and then we do come back down and retest all these sort of ranges and then we pop off and then maybe look for a breakout like that as we move into a couple months time, Craig, on Solana. That's what I'm looking up there. Let's look at AVAX. Obviously AVAX is another one. I still think, again, I've touched on this quite a lot, a huge zone of resistance over here, guys, from 2021. So no surprise that we couldn't hold it here. Like ideally you would have broken, held it, and then bounced like that. But as you can see here, we couldn't hold it. We actually retested it and are currently just consolidating here. So again, I think a lot of tokens are looking to consolidate for a period of time. If we do look, it looks like AVAX did retest. Let me just change my tools. It looks like AVAX actually retest this high from 2022. Yep. So that shows me strength as well because it's bounced off that level as well. So again, we might consolidate here, and this is a great time to actually leverage trade because leverage trade is really risky. And so rather than trying to take huge swing trades on price action that's moving up or price action that's going down, you can play ranges just like this. So you could be longing. And obviously this is on a weekly, so you can even dive in even easier and make some smaller ranges. But you could play these ranges so nice and clearly. So if you're looking to long, you could obviously long the bottom. Let me find my tools. There it is. So you could be longing here and just protecting yourself, so just below that sort of level. And then obviously you could be trying to long it back to the top for some insane sort of return. So that's the 3.81 ratio there for just longs, guys. And so essentially what you could be doing is you could be longing the bottom. Okay, so anywhere down here you could be longing while we consolidate, and then you should be shorting the top. And obviously if you do it aggressively and you set your stop losses and you're like just in a really aggressive sort of zone, you can really make some money in markets that are just trending sideways. Okay, because they are going to just trend sideways until we get some either hype, until we get some more news, until the dollar starts to come down, etc., etc. And that's really important because I see a lot of people just try to take these massive leverage trades, Craig, on like just absolute, just like absurd sort of things. So I want to long this from like 15k BTC all the way to 100k. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really happen like that. So what you can do is on short time frames, so on the 4 hour, on the 1 hour, on the 2 hour, really look for these macro sort of ranges and just trade them if you have obviously the time to do that.
Yeah, it's sort of that point in the market, like we were saying, and it's a good point you're making now. Leverage trading is obviously a viable option just because for those who want to play the market daily or weekly, leverage trading at the moment is probably your play. Just if you want to scratch that itch. For me, it's been NFTs at the moment.
Yes.
But just looking at your zones there on AVAX, you got me thinking, yeah, man, there's some nice zones at the moment. And accumulation phases like this that are respecting the channels like that almost, I'm hesitant to say it, but that almost looks like easier picking than other areas, you know? So I'm like, yes, I think you're right. That's a good way to feel like you're playing the market, feel like you've still got your finger on the pulse. Obviously, you know, not too many big gambles. I saw someone yesterday had got quite a big win, or they're currently in a trade with, they had longed Pudgies.
Oh, hectic. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they'd longed Pudgies. I don't know what platform they'd longed it on, but anyway, they've longed it since 9 ETH, and I think it was sitting at 14. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, it's at 15, just shy of 15 this morning. Yeah,
so nice bet, but it's bull run stuff when you're seeing people leverage trade NFTs.
Oh, shocking. No, so obviously, like you said, AVAX is down 27% from its from that high, this local high. So again, 28%. So that's a great DCA. I always say anything over 15%, and I like to have a buy. Nice. So yeah, there's plenty of even if you dive in shorter, guys, like you could just be trading this sort of range here as well. Like obviously leverage is risky, so please always do your own research. I do have a video on a little tutorial, but even if you're trading this, like if you want to scratch that itch, like Craig is saying, guys, here's a simple little range that you can trade on a short time frame, and again, long and short it. So if you're longing and shorting on 10x leverage, that's a 30% move just right there, right? So again, always do your own research, look into these sort of things because you can trade really nice tokens. So let's look at Celestia. I know you've had exposure to this, Craig. It's on a tear, which is great to see. I know I reached out to you to stake my Celestia at the moment, so I'm currently doing that on Kepler, which is great to see. I think it's like 16% APY from memory, Craig.
Yeah, it is 16%. So it's pretty nice, man. It's been a nice play that I think I got in around the $11 mark.
Yeah.
or 12 maybe.
Yeah.
12, sorry, I think I called it at. Where are we at the moment? I'm just trying to
Uh,
find the figures.
18,
18, 19.
18.9. Yeah. So like you're up
Yeah.
probably 30 to 40% already.
And I see, I'm just looking, having a look. It looks like it broke the $20 mark. I mean, it wicked up there and it's come back down.
Yeah.
But that chart, man, looks aggressive as hell, eh?
Yeah, it looks so healthy. Like it looks so healthy, and it's just such a like it's the narrative, right? And if you're not following
Yeah.
these narratives, then you're missing out on so many gains. And like say is obviously the same if we pull up that chart. So we did break out a say. Obviously we probably failed to break that high on say, guys. So we'll be
Mm.
watching to see what happens here with that price action. And then Injective is the last one on that chain or that sort of narrative. Let me see if I can find my chart. So Injective, yeah, it's again, a lot of things are going to be consolidating, okay? And you can sort of leverage trade these like we've just been speaking about on lower time frames. So yeah, a clear range right there as well that you could have been trading over the past few days on Injective. So yeah, great to see. But obviously, like if you zoom out, like these tokens are up so much. Look at that. Look at that chart. That's health. That is healthy,
Yeah,
okay?
that's great. I see Blur's pumping, which
Yes.
you'll be delighted about.
I'm
It's
happy. I'm a happy man. We'll come back to Beam in a
20%.
second. Let's look at Blur. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a no brainer. Like particularly with this blast narrative that's sorry, the blast unlock that's about to happen. We're starting to see this, and now it gets to a really interesting point because I'm like obviously up in terms of ETH, but what I'm trying to do is obviously farm that airdrop, which doesn't drop till May. So I'm very undecided about whether I take short-term profits
Mm.
on my allocation because then you don't get the multiplier for the airdrop if I do withdraw it. So I'm very intrigued to see how that sort of plays out. But yeah, Blur's great to see here that we are sort of, you could have even said that was a cup and handle just there, guys. So like a little nice cup and then handle, bang, we're going up. So it's great to see there. And so I sort of start to see that on the chart. So it's great to see. But I do think Blur my target for $1 ish is maybe when I do start to consider taking that off. But again, like it's just an easy airdrop to farm because you're just holding Blur in the platform, and then you can bid on the side. So I will go start bidding on some NFTs, particularly like NFTs that started to pop off. So like little pudgies and that sort of thing. And they're a great one to just throw bids at and flip if you need to at the end of the day, and you actually cop one. So I think, yeah, it's still being slept on as a airdrop potential. I'm just a bit unsure whether I aggressively take profits and then maybe try and get back in, or if I just hold it until May. I'm not sure.
Yeah. What are you up now on Blur? If you don't mind me asking, you're pretty.
Oh,
Did you
I'm
get
probably
into
up
that?
quite a yeah. So I obviously got my airdrop, so that was obviously just I
Oh yeah,
straight
that's
away
right.
put that into staking. I probably copped it around this sort of region down here around point. I think I got in around 0.5 from memory. So yeah, I
Yeah.
got it in
Wow.
50
You're in a
cents. So I'm
strong
up.
spot, huh?
Yeah, so I'm up 47% on the second bag that I entered with Blur. So that again, like that's a great trade. But obviously I'm still like, do I weigh up the airdrop or do I weigh up my ETH? And like ETH has gone up as
Yeah.
well, so you got to think about that as well. And whether if we do start to consolidate for a period of time, does Blur keep trending up as the Blast unlocks? I think obviously with Blast money coming in, the Blur token will continue to go up, but then I do think it will cool off. So maybe I do try to swing trade it. Yeah, interesting. Obviously, you still get the holder points by holding,
Yeah.
by staking it for the past couple of months. So yeah, I think I might. Yeah, if Blur gets to $1, I think I might cut that airdrop.
Yeah, that's been a nice trade for you. It's nice to have
Yeah.
options. If you've
Yeah,
got options
exactly.
like you do, and both of them are wins, it's like
Yeah.
you're kind of just deciding which win you'd like to take, really,
Yeah.
almost. So
Yeah.
that's a strong position. Now you could almost, you're doing well there.
Yeah, and so we've got Beam here now, guys. So obviously, Craig and I have been a big fan of Beam for quite a long time. Again, what you can see here is that it has a strong support. Oopsies. As you can see here, it has a strong support there at that sort of 0.17 sort of range, if not a little bit lower as well. So it's great to see it moving up again with strength. Again, I would love to see it break this level, hold that level. This is on the daily, and then move up and continue towards that 0.025 range. It's a no-brainer this cycle, in my opinion, Craig. Like, if you look into the dev side of it and the gaming side of it all, it's just its utility is what's going to drive that token.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic about this one. It's sort of one of those ones that you know with the points you just made that could absolutely rip in a bull that's absolutely seeing where everything's seeing quite large gains. Beam for me is one of those ones. I guess I'm optimistic that it may get bigger X's than a few of my other. That's sort of my Yeah,
Yes.
my the play that I'm really hoping buys your car sort of stuff. Where you
Yeah.
go, yeah, go baby, go.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a couple of tokens in a bull run that everyone talks about, right? There's going to be a couple.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Beam's one of those that at the end of the cycle, everyone goes, "Oh my god, everyone who's in Beam was so lucky." That's my hope. I don't know if it will be, but it's got the right narrative. As you and I have spoken before, we often, we invest based on charts, but also narratives. Very important.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll pull up this chart because Relevant's here. Shout out to you, Relevant. One of my private group members. I do appreciate you, legend. Let's look at Quant to see what's happening with it. I like to
great coin last run, man. I
it
milked
was.
Quant, so I love that coin, man.
So
it did well.
let's. I always like to start more zoomed out. So let's have a look. It looks like it's just trending, but like you say, we have come back to a zone. We are currently looking quite bullish with that sort of level there. Outside that, I could probably say that we maybe, I'm going to say that level there is going to be quite a big level to break for Quant. So that's at the $150 mark. So it looks like that's probably what I'd be playing it for, Relevant, at the moment, is sort of maybe accumulation up to this level. So that's still a $30 swing trade. So it's about 25% move. But whether it does have that strength to continue up, if the rest of the market does start to bleed, then maybe it does come back down and retest some of this range down here that it's been sort of trending sideways for a long time. But I remember when Quant came out in 2022 as well. Pretty crazy. It pumped. Yeah, this I remember this move from here to here was like, about a 5x.
God, I felt smart. It was one of those.
Yeah.
It was one of those coins for me last run where I kind of got to jump on my computer daily or weekly and shave profit off. It was like it was just printing. It was like carving a ham over at Christmas. I wake up every morning and just shave a bit off for brekkie. Man, that gets me excited for this run. That sort of thing where you just wake up and go, boom.
That's it. You just have to be patient. So many people aren't patient. So again, let's look at Radium, another one that I and Craig also have exposure to, guys. I think again, these are just a great long-term sort of area. And like I said, for the other tokens, I'd love to see it. Obviously, we were drawing this last week, but I'd love to see it break back above this sort of wick up here, that inefficiency there, and then hold that and break higher into 2024. But obviously, we're just consolidating here. Radium went on an insane tear in the space of in the space of a month, it ran up 5x. So again, these things need to just chill, guys. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, but again, you want to have the conviction plays and you want to be buying when there's red on the tables, not when it's on green.
That's another one. That and Beam, probably even also Radium. I don't know. That chart's just so juicy, man.
It is. Hey, Radium's chart looks so much upside.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I was like predominantly getting it down here. I was like, oh my God, like people are sleeping on this and Orca and Jupiter and stuff. All right, let's segue to IMX. Again, we're seeing consolidation after a massive double bottom move, guys. And again, it looks like there's a lot of strength here. So the tokens we've been talking about, they're just chilling and nothing's down like drastically. It's down just healthy retracements. Like all markets can't go up. So IMX is really nicely chilling here as well. Vulcan Forge will probably be around the same. Yeah, it looks to be sort of chilling there as well, guys. So again, like I spoke about at the top of the episode, God, who's drawing this chart? That was horrendous. Let's have a look. Actually, I could probably change this to maybe like something like that actually is probably a bit nicer. So if we go like that, that's probably what I'd be looking at for Vulcan Forge at the moment, guys. But a lot of our conviction plays, Craig, are still very healthy at the moment. And I think it's just play that long-term game, guys. And I see so many people want to be degenerate. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? I'm a degenerate at the end of the day as well. But like, there's times to be degenerate. And I think that's probably a really good segue into meme coins, Craig, because we have started to see some really pop off over the weekend. Like for me, I called a couple. Obviously, I called Myro from 16 million to 180 million. So that was an 11x over a couple of weeks. So that was great to see. But then obviously there's some tokens like this. Once my screen wants to load. Get out of the right one. Okay, close that. Yep, amazing. Okay, let's see if it's working. Yeah, great. So Myra is a token I called down here at 1.4 mil, and it ran to obviously 5 mil. So there was a nice 4x return there. There's a few others that I called over the weekend. I'm trying to remember what they were. Circle was another one. So if you can get into the right players with the right sentiment, so this is still lots of strength. So so it's gone up for another huge run. So I got in down here around the 1.5 sort of region, and it ran up to 6.5, and obviously it's retesting that high right now. But yeah, if you can get into the right tokens, there's definitely money to be made in meme coins, but you just have to be so careful because there's a lot of things that aren't as bullish in the meme coin space right now, Craig. Have you had the same sort of thing, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, meme coins for me have been a bit trickier. There's definitely been, a few absolute rippers for the last week or two out there. But I kind of, my feeling out there and just being in all the group chats is there's a lot less liquidity going into them. So it's harder to catch wins. And unless you pick the winner for that week, you're probably going to lose, more than half the time. Well, that was the sort of my percentages I felt like. So I kind of backed away from them a bit, just because I felt like my chances of success were quite poor. There were a few I jumped in on. What was that one that kind of went on a tear recently? Drake's dog.
Oh yeah, that ran on a crazy tear.
I got a little win on there. I was a little bit late, and then MS Paint.
That ran. That someone DM'd me about that, and I faded it.
Yeah, but surprisingly, I'm sleeping on. I'm still up about 80%. So. But just to segue off there, for myself personally, I'm not like I was 6 months ago where, I was playing 5 coins a day because out of the 4 were winning. I think if you play 5 now, 4 will lose. And you may get a 3x, 5x, 10x on one, which sometimes can actually recover your bag on the 4 losses. Yeah. But not enough for me. And I'm just from being in the group chats, there's a lot more days where I'm seeing people go, oh man, I came out bad today. A lot more of those days for people. So I'm kind of shying away from it. I've been kind of more running on the Soul NFT narrative with the Saga phones. The Saga phones to me have kind of taken people's eyes to Soul NFTs. So it's actually kind of done its job, that phone. And I don't mean from a perspective of people that own the phone. And I kind of put a post up in my Discord, our Discord where you are as well, saying, it's probably a good time to keep your eyes there because the narrative's there, the liquidity's there, and because people are getting wins there, that money could stay in that sort of ecosystem at the moment. I just think Soul NFTs at the moment are, for me, that's the place to be. I'm seeing just about nothing on ETH. Yes. And daily on Sol now, you're getting they're not expensive cooks. So people could say, oh yeah, but you're only making $50. But man, it doesn't matter for me. It's percentages. Exactly. So if I put in $10 and walk away with half a Sol, I just keep stacking Sol, man. That's my goal at the moment. And I'm kind of trying to keep myself focused because it's easy to see people posting these P&Ls where they're making, 20 grand and you think, shit, my $50 isn't that great. But you've got to keep yourself sober in these times. And I'm just trying to stack Sol. So I've got, my Phantom wallet, I've got a couple of wallets within it. One's my DGen wallet and one's my bull market wallet. I'm just stacking and I just visit that daily and I want to see that grow. And it doesn't matter if it grows by half a Sol, no Sol, 10 Sol, it's just got to grow. You know what I mean? As much as I can, because I know when this bull run comes, 3x is conservative from here for me. Sol, I'm speaking about 6, 7x is probably 5 to 6 is what I'm thinking. Yeah. So even if I get a half a Sol day every day, I still think that's going to end up being a 3 Sol day in the bull run. So it's kind of just telling yourself, be patient. People are going to put up pictures this whole run of making 50 grand, 100 grand. Half the pictures are fake, probably more. Just remind yourself, I think for the listeners out there, go steady, go slow, just keep building because in the bull run, these little wins are going to end up being massive. So I think for me, Sol NFTs, man, I'm getting much more comfortable now in Sol NFTs. I was a little bit late. You were a good 3 months ahead of me there. So it took me a bit of time to get my bearings, just how to even navigate, Magic Eden or Tensor, or even knowing what they were. And kind of getting a better feeling of how the traders trade there versus OpenSea. It took me a little while. Same with meme coins on Sol. It took me, it was a bit of a transition going from Ethereum. It behaves differently. So
Yes.
I was kind of a student there for a while, and even with Magic Eden and that now, I'm still a student for sure, but
Yeah.
I'm feeling more comfortable there. Now that I'm feeling more comfortable, I'm like, man, I can see why you're sort of, got your feet sort of in the pool there. It's nice, man. And the gas and the little gas makes it so good. So good.
Yeah.
If for NFTs, man, it's great.
Oh, it is. It's like you can get in and out of trades super easy. It's super fast, obviously. That type of stuff, and obviously you can also, you can flip so quickly, and like the floors move. You can cut things. You can throw in
Yeah.
offers. It's just so.
You can cut losses easier.
Oh, it's so easy. It's so nice to use. And it's funny. Because I copped your trade yesterday, which is great, and I have been flipping a few other NFTs across the past couple of weeks. Just live on the show, guys. I am taking this trade right now, actually on
Oh,
Saga
cool.
2. I
Saga
just
2.
shared it. Saga 2. So like you're trading on sentiment here. Obviously, if this just does flop over, it's probably because there's not much volume down the bottom there to support it going higher. But this is a breakout. Obviously, being Saga 2, you've got that
It's the new
sentiment that's there.
phone release, is
Yeah,
it?
it could, I don't know. Is it a new phone, or is it just
Yeah,
like a meme?
they've just kind of teasing at the moment. They're talking about releasing a Saga
Oh,
2, a cheaper phone.
okay, yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
this is playing. So actually, that's what made me laugh. I was like, man, these guys are quick.
I know. People are so,
Probably a good
um,
play. It's
yeah,
in
no.
the news
So
at the
I'll
moment.
hold it. Yeah, I'll hold it. Obviously, at this breakout, I'd love to see volume kick in. But again, you've got a live trade on the show, guys. So there you go. There's one that
Cool.
we haven't done
What's
for
the
a while.
market cap? What are we at? Oh,
100,
100K.
107K. So
Nice
it's
level.
bounced. Yeah, it's bounced nicely there. So I just shared it in our group, Craig, and in my private group as well. So we'll see how we go. Let's see if it plays out on the show. So we'll come back to that one later in the show. But let's move obviously into the NFTs like we've been speaking about. Like you said, there's so many good potentials to be flipping at the moment. Magic tickets ran up like over a sol. I called that at under 2 sol. They ran up over 3 sol the other day because of that narrative. Obviously, you've had Dort, that's a new mint. We had the homeowners, we ran that up from 7 to 10 sol. So like you say, Craig, I think accumulating sol as much as you can in your DGEM wallet is what I'm also trying to do. If I can run that DGEM wallet up to a few hundred sol, that's so much money in a bull run, right? And
Yeah.
so that's what I'm doing as well. I'm starting to really try and avoid, like I've still got my Mad Lad, I've still got my Hot Doggo, but I did cut my Klano just because I wanted to use that liquidity. Yeah, I wanted to use that liquidity to actively trade, because I can trade a meme coin and turn 5 sol into 15 sol in the space of a couple of hours, for example. Or I can just hold this Klano and just like play it long term. I don't know. So I decided to cut it for about a break even in the end. So that's all right. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's plenty of good potential plays on Solana if you just get in nice and early.
Yeah, there's lots of. You're probably noticing as well with the Saga coming out. Every drop at the moment's got Saga something written in the name. So there's a lot of artists / people dropping NFTs at the moment because they know, they're seeing the liquidity there. And you really can catch, what I like is, I guess, irrational wins or irrational pumps, where it makes no sense to me that it pumps. The name's average, the art's average, but it still pumps. And for me, I like being in a marketplace where absolute garbage pumps, because it's the same for meme coins 6 months ago. You were getting tickers that didn't have to be that clever to absolutely send. So, you felt like a genius. And it's kind of feeling that way over there for me at the moment. So, and I feel like more and more people are still going to come there because, I'm seeing more Bored Apes that are now on the timeline saying, hey, decided to jump on my first Sol NFT. There were about 3 Bored Apes yesterday that jumped on an NFT that unfortunately lost a little bit. But regardless, they were like, hey, following Craig, jumping on my first Sol NFT. It doesn't matter what the collection is for me. It's the fact they're going to Sol for the first time and jumping on Magic Eden for the first time.
Yes.
And these guys, some of these guys have big bags, man. So for
100%.
them, dropping 10 Sol on something, it's not that scary for them. For me, it's a little bit scary sometimes. But some of these guys, they're jumping on Saga Monkeys at 12 Sol.
Yeah.
Now, me personally, I'm not going to jump on there 12.
No, neither.
Mainly because of my ego, because I got out earlier. but I like to get in a little bit earlier. But just seeing guys jump in and say, hey, Copter, Saga Monkey at 12 Sol, I'm like, shit, okay, we're at that point of the market where people are quite happy to ape on at peak. So let's go, man.
Yeah,
so
I think it.
Yeah, sorry. It's
it's come down obviously a little bit, but that's a pretty healthy chart. Like I know it's an NFT and
I think we can still see that higher, man.
Yeah, but like that's healthy. That's lower high, higher lows, higher highs. So that's good to see. So again, yeah, I think they could definitely continue. And like that's it. Like people are starting to realize there's money to be made on ETH. On Sol. So why are you not there? Like if we have a look, I'll be very curious to see what's happening actually in the volume on Crypto Slam. So let's have a quick look at that because, yeah, like you say, like people, like it's good to see that some of those group chats that we're in, the big ETH boys are coming over to Sol, and that's great to see. So if we do have a look here,
man. And it's so bullish for the Sol, for just the Sol coin.
Yes,
like for me as well. I'm just like, man, everything. I jumped on a Crypto Novus chat yesterday. And they were asking me, in the bull run, which coin has really stood out to me. And there was a clear winner, right? Nothing comes close to Sol.
No.
Price-wise, narrative, they've absolutely... If you want to look at a team that's kind of just kicked ass this run, they just nailed it, huh?
Yeah.
Absolutely nailed it.
Oh, dude, yeah. But if you look, it's not just because of the token pumping as well and the meme coins it's like the DeFi, it's the airdrops, it's the community side of it all. Like it's just great to see.
It's ETH last run, isn't it?
It is.
It just has everything, and it's really pissing ETH people off because in my timeline, I'm seeing people going, we told you, Sol people, you're down and we're up, and I'm thinking, man, it's just going to go like this all run. So, every week there's another winner, but the next week the other one's the winner. So it's kind of a stupid thing, I think, to be talking about because it's not a competition, guys. You don't. It's not like you have to
can make money everywhere.
It's all going up, guys. So we're all going to be. Someone's going to be right one week, someone's going to be wrong. But I have both, so I'm just right all the time, man. so I don't mind.
No, I agree. And I put this poll out. Yeah, I put out this poll this morning. I put out one before, and I'll show that in a second. But this one was, after Sol dominated the first poll that I put out, and it was between Sol, Say, and Sui. And this one is obviously Sol versus ETH versus BTC, and it's still dominating. Like Sol is...
BTC.
Yeah, like Sol, Say, Sui, it's still dominating people. That was last night, and then this morning I put this one out, and yeah, it's still dominating ETH, dominating BTC. So that's obviously great to see. Now, if we do look at the markets, obviously what's leading a lot of the ETH volume right now is the Pudgy Penguin ecosystem, the potential of the airdrop. It's great to see because I reckon I've said that 9 months ago. The Ethereum play is Pudgies at 4 ETH, little Pudgies at 0.3 ETH, and you will be a happy man if you were to accumulate those for this cycle. Obviously, at the time, I didn't have a lot of liquidity, so I couldn't get into those plays. But they obviously are starting to heat up. We've seen little Pudgies go to like 1.4 ETH now. We've seen Pudgies are up at 15 ETH as well. So so many good returns over in that space. But as you can see here, like it's still predominantly ETH that has volume this week, the last 24 hours. Let's look at the weekly. Solana NFTs, it's funny, Craig, because we're making money in these small little flips and stuff, but the volume is still way down compared to ETH and BTC. So still plenty of potential to see some good run-ups there over the coming week. Shout out to someone who just shared this in my Discord, but this is Solana Mobile 2 that is coming out soon. So we're very curious to see how this plays out. So pre-order, $450.
They would have been idiots for not doing another run.
Oh, look at this. Chapter 2, shipping in 2025. No, thanks. I'm all right. So I'll fade that.
25? Really? Yeah.
But like that's smart. That's smart putting it out now because people will think that it's just going to run hard as we move into 2024.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it could be a play, but that's a long way away. That's like 10 years in crypto.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But like, here's the chart, guys, for Pudgies. Obviously, they've really look at that. Like they were 0.86. What's that? 3 days ago, they were 0.86. So they've gone up half an ETH each. If you obviously caught that, and obviously Pudgies as well are up to just shy of 15.
What? ETH. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Yep.
What's your bull runs absolutely ripping? What's your top target for Pudgies? Where do you think they go? Where do you feel they could go? And I mean bullish. Like you could go crazy.
Bullish.
Here.
I think 50 ETH. I think easily they could be 50
Yeah.
ETH. So that's still a 3 and a bit X from where we are currently. So I definitely think Pudgies could be. They are heating up like something else. I put out a poll again about whether they'll flip apes, and literally 70% of people said yes. And like again, guys, trade. And hold on, I got to find this tweet that I put out. I don't know if you saw it.
50%. Who would have thought last run? If you wrote that, you would have got smashed. All the apes would have just pounded.
Let me see if I can find it. Hold on, I just got to scroll. Where is it?
If those flip apes, holy shit! I'm gonna meme that so hard.
I love it. The
penguins, the fat little bird.
Here it is. So I put this up yesterday because so many people in crypto get stuck on emotional trading and forget that, okay, I need to trade where sentiment is, where liquidity is, and I want to make gains, right, at the end of the day. Shout out to you, Legend, for being here. Morning. So just like I put this tweet out yesterday just for perspective, because I always take an analytical approach to everything. I'll cut my bags in weak positions. I'll take my profits quite aggressively, except for like my long conviction plays. And so really interestingly, let's look at these statistics. So in May 2022, apes were at 150, Pudgies were at 2.5. At Jan 2023, apes 80 and Pudgies are at 6. So Pudgies are up 2.4x and apes were down 46%. By mid-year last year, Bayek was down to 45, down another 44%. Pudgies had obviously consolidated and were down 8%. In January, this was supposed to be 2024, so a little typo, my bad. As you can see, so that is essentially where we are today. Bored Ape Yacht Club was down to 25 ETH, down 14.
Unreal, 25 ETH for an ape.
And then Pudgies are now, like, this is already out of date. They're up to 15 ETH. So that's like up 3x nearly from when they were in June. So, like, this is the charts that I wanted to show you. Like, which chart would you rather own, guys? And, like, we're all here to make money. And, yeah, don't get me wrong. People probably got into apes, like, super early, or they bought ETH super early. So that
they could be up maybe 25x, yeah.
Exactly. Like, even right now when it's at 25 ETH, they could be up 100x because they got into ETH so early. You just don't know. Yeah. But what I'm showing you is that if you're just a general sort of trader, this is what you want to be doing. You don't want to be caught in emotional sort of bags. You don't want to be trying to chase, oh, yeah, I finally have an ape. Like, sick. Yeah, apes for last cycle, mate. What you want to be is saying, hey, yeah, I finally got a Pudgy, bro. And now you can have a Pudgy because look at this chart, right? Like, that is just going up, up, up. There's healthy pullbacks. And, like, there's nothing bearish about that chart. There is so much bearishness about the Bored Ape Yacht Club chart. So it's just fascinating because so many people get caught up in that whole, like, oh, this is what happened last cycle, or oh my God, it's an ape, or oh my God, it's a mutant. And if you take that train, then you're missing out in so many other places.
It's funny you say that. One of my goals last bull run towards the tail end of it was I told myself I wanted to get into a mutant when they were, oh God, what were they, 30 ETH or 50 ETH or something like that? A lot of money, right? Yeah. And that was my goal for Q1 of this year, was to have one. Yeah. That goal has now changed. Yeah. And I no longer want to have one. Yeah. So it's interesting how even the narrative in my mind has changed. And that's not because I'm smart. It's just the way the price action in the market has made me feel about it. And it's interesting, isn't it, how an NFT can look so sexy when it's worth a lot of money, and it can look quite unattractive when it's not worth as much. Yeah. And I think for the apes, don't get me wrong, I think they're still that collection that not everyone, but a lot of people will look up to. Yeah, of course. But they just copped a lot of FAD, and the unfortunately for Yuga or their holders, Yuga are probably in that position where they have to act to behave a lot more like a company now, and not so much like Gordon go, come on lads, let's have the beers, let's go party. That has kind of moved or transitioned, and to the holders, it's actually probably a better thing long term because they're behaving as a bigger company probably should. But for the degens out there that want sickening airdrops and all this stuff, I guess that Yuga have to be a bit smart and tiptoe legally with legalities now, a little bit smarter. So it's interesting, isn't it? They've matured as a company, I guess I should say, and the bigger wins may not be there. Don't get me wrong, Craig is sexy every live. Thanks. I love those calls. But it's the t-shirt. Just
Yeah, it's a salmon color, bro. It's a salmon
Be
color.
Cool's Australian brand. I think that's Sunny Coast.
Yeah.
I've totally lost my train of thought. Thank you. But don't get me wrong. I think Yuga could still drop the hammer, man. They've still got the war chest there. That if when the time comes to drop, it's other side, right? That's what we're all waiting on. It's other side.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a sink or swim. So I'm gonna wait sidelines for that, man. I'm not willing to put in that much money.
No, I agree.
If they get if they get the metaverse, first of all, will that be the one that everyone goes to? Don't know. Looks pretty cool, but I'm sidelined on you. I mean, I've got other deeds, unfortunately, and they've trended down since I got them. But I'm just sitting in my other deeds now, and I'll play the game for fun with my son and all that stuff. But Yuga's in a tough position, and I think they're going to get smashed no matter what happens for the next little while. So, being their communications manager would be a friggin' nightmare at the moment. God.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, but
So go to Pudgies.
Yeah, I think so too, and it's just great to see, because I was calling that, and we were talking about that for months and months. So it's just great to see those conviction plays really play out. And obviously, if I had the liquidity, I would have bought a Pudgy. It probably would have been my PFP, but obviously I didn't have the money at the time.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money, and it sort of felt like, I think ETH NFTs back then, even when we were bullish, the smarter play was still in altcoins. I'm guessing that's where you put your liquidity. That's where I did, rather than buy Pudgy. I bought 4 ETH worth of altcoins, which I still think is a safer move. And I think at the end of the bull run, it'll. Actually, I don't want to say that Pudgy's could end up ripping, man. But I just wanted to keep safer.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. And I think that's a really important point. Yeah, I put it into, a stronger conviction play. So that was altcoins for sure. It was DCAing into Solana and AVAX at low levels. I was priced out of a Pudgy, so I was like, okay, what's the next best conviction play that I have in NFTs that I want to hold for the next year? And that was Mad Lads.
Yeah.
And so what I did is I copped my Mad Lad. At the time, it was probably about 25% of my whole portfolio. But I was like, okay, this in time, obviously I want to grow the rest of my portfolio so that it outweighs that side of it. But I think it's so important to have that little exposure on the potential plays. And that Mad Lad's up 100 Sol, and Sol's gone up probably 2x from that point. So like, I've already probably 3x'd it if I was to sell it today.
And it's a big
but that's
trade
it. That's my
one. So even though it's a 3x,
correct.
It's a big 3x.
Yeah. Oh, at the point in time, I think it's Australian, so let me do some conversions in my head. I probably spent around $5,000 to $6,000 USD on that NFT, but I knew at the time it was probably the right call, and it has been the right call since that point of time. So it floats between 15 and 25 sort of K at the moment USD. But I do think
on that, Greeny, in a full-fledged Sols, even Sol at $300, those are going to be ripping.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, dude, I think Mad Lads could hit 500 Sol, and if obviously Sol's up to 200 plus, could be a lot of money. So,
man.
Yeah.
What's your sell price?
I think if it starts to push above $75,000, that's a 10x nearly for me. Sorry, I'm converting to Australian right now. So no, my apologies. I got in at 8,000 Australian. It was 5,000 US. So obviously if it gets to around, so it'd be 50,000+ US. I think I probably need to think about taking some.
I think when you're seeing photos like last bull run, and shout out to Bunny, this is not a dig at you, bro, with $500,000 on the watch with the iPhone watch with the NFT on there.
Sell.
I think we all learned a lot last cycle, and respect to all those apes out there and all that, they kicked ass. But and the reason why I say respect to them is none of us knew what NFTs would do. So for people laughing now, saying, you should have sold then, man, I was in that run. I wasn't in an ape, but I was in the euphoria. You would have been as well, man. I don't know when I would have sold it.
Dude, there was like the main one for me, I was in Pixel Vault quite a bit, trying to if I can get into a hero, that'd be so like this game looks sick. And then
they're doing well now, aren't they? They're doing well.
Yeah, it's good to see. They are popping off again, which is great to see. I think they just they had this big plan. They have all this vision, but again, I think a lot of people in Web3 were just a bit neglective of how long it takes to build like a bloody game.
That kid who he sold, didn't he? He sold Pixelmon for.
Did he? Whatever his name's, I can't remember his name now, but
selling it for a decent amount of money. I can't remember what it was, but it was good, man. And so I'm not sure if he's an advisor there now or what, but I think a gaming company's basically come in. I can't believe this happened. That a kid, when I say kid, he was under 24? And I can't remember the numbers, but he made tens of millions on the mint. And then he made a couple of mil on the buyout. God, what a smart dude.
Oh, yeah.
What a smart dude. What was
insane
gains. Is it Kevin?
I can't remember. No, I can't remember. I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure.
Anyway, good to see, man. Good to see.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So, yeah, and that's it. Like, so, yeah, last cycle was so different. And I think, yeah, like you said, we've definitely learned a lot.
It's taught us me to take profit, man. So I won't be holding any NFTs that go, like you said, when it goes to 50K, 75K, numbers that actually in real life change things.
Yeah.
Change your life. Take the IRL. Yeah, that's right. And Aussie Kings make a good point. I was going to touch on this. Apes, you know, even though you can say it was worth $500,000, now it's not. They got airdropped so much stuff that even if you still held your ape, you got another deed, you got $250K worth of ape if you sold at the top. So even if you still got your ape, but you sold that $250K, I mean, God, you couldn't lose with ape. So yeah, man, I agree with you, Aussie King. You guys kicked ass, man, and respect. Yeah, good times. I wish I was in. I tell that story. I could have copped. I had 5 apes shortlisted for 0.7. Didn't buy them. Everyone's got one of those stories, and the rest is history, man. So, God damn it.
Oh well, mate, we'll make it back this time.
So Pudgies.
Honestly, they've been to play. But I think if Pudgies come back down towards 12 ETH, I think that's a steal longer term. I think if Lil Pudgies trend back down below 0.12, that I think you just want to sweep 3 of them and just forget about them probably.
When Pudgies hit, if and when they hit 50 ETH, I'll cop a Pudgies t-shirt and I'll wear it on the show.
Love it.
I won't have a Pudgie, but I'll have the t-shirt and the cap.
I love it. I love it. Well, I think that's all I really wanted to cover today, Craig. There's not too much else happening at the moment. We're consolidating like we spoke about at the top of the show. And I think it's just important time to maybe step away, do some other things, check the markets every now and then. And if you see your favorite altcoins or your favorite NFTs, whatever, get to a nice accumulation zone, then it's always a great time to maybe DCA into those.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I think it's that sort of the point in the market's accumulation now. It's cool off. I suppose there's less to talk about. There's nothing ripping, but at the same time, now's getting to buy zones for me. So at the moment, it's a little bit either sit on your hands or do a bit of DCA. And I suspect on the show next week or the week after, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few ripping altcoin wise.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Yep. So obviously, thanks for being here today, everybody. We do appreciate your support as always. Please like the video or like us on the stream on X as well. It does help us grow each week that we do this. Obviously, we'll be back next week. I'm actually getting married on the weekend, so pretty busy time. So
congratulations, man.
Thanks,
enjoy
mate.
the process. It's a good day, man. It goes quick.
I know.
Just try and sit back and soak it up because it's just like both.
Yeah, and then we move out next week too. So there's a lot going on in my personal life at the moment. So
you're doing well to get these shows up, man. Wow.
Well, you got to be consistent. That's the secret to success, in my opinion. So shout out.
Have a great day, man. And thanks, we'll speak next week. And I'm excited for you. That's cool, bro. Oh, when Mini Greenie. Oh, he's just dipped on me. Thanks, guys. We'll speak next time.